Hi, in this lesson I am discussing about the properties of a vector quantity, and finally I'll discuss the experiment that shows force is a vector quantity. Okay, most of the textbooks they define a vector quantity like this. They say a physical quantity that has both magnitude and direction. So based on this definition, generally students ask, is electric current a vector or a scalar quantity? Because when we think about Fleming's left-hand rule, there the direction of the current is significant. Because when the direction of the current changes, direction of the magnetic force on the current carrying wire also will change. Also, the magnitude of the current is significant because the magnitude of the force on the current carrying wire in magnetic field is given by F equal BIL sine theta. So when the magnitude of the I changes, the magnitude of the force also will change. So is it a vector or scalar, the current? Okay, so actually what is vector? Yes, it should have both magnitude and direction, but it should have other properties also. What are those properties? First one I can say, any vector we should be able to show by a straight line with an arrow. The length of the straight line should indicate the magnitude of the vector, and the direction of the arrow shown on the straight line should indicate the direction of the vector. So for example, we know force is a vector, but I'll discuss the practical last of at the end of this lesson. Say force is a vector. Say there's a force of 10 Newton acting on an object at an angle 30 degrees. We can show this force by a straight line according to a scale. Something like I can define a scale, 1 Newton equal 1 centimeter. So 10 Newton is equal to 10 centimeters. So I can indicate this force by a length of 10 centimeter at an angle 30 degree. Right? So because force is a vector, we can show any vector by straight line with an arrow. But electric current cannot be shown like this by a straight line. We can't show electric current. Okay, the second property, when we reverse the direction of a vector, it must be written with a negative sign. The same force on the object I can show like this, opposite direction if I reverse the vector, but actually it's acting this way. But if I show the same force in this direction, then I can say that is minus 10 Newton. Minus 10 Newton at an angle 30 degree. Okay, but this property sometimes we are using in electric circuits for current when we are using Kirchhoff's second law in a loop, right? So they are in a loop, something like this. I'm not drawing the complete diagram. Say, for example, we are considering a loop like something like this. There can be another power supply, right? Say the current I is coming here. Current I1 is this direction I2 I am considering. So when I consider Kirchhoff's second law equation, if I write in this direction, so the current is to the left, but I am taking in clockwise direction, I am using the Kirchhoff's second law, then I will indicate this current I1 with negative sign, right? But okay, we are using that sign, something, it looks like something we are using here, but anyway, current is not a vector quantity. There is an important property or a rule called vector addition rule. Current never obeys it. What is it, vector addition rule? Okay, so according to vector addition rule, we know a force or any vector could be shown by a straight line with an arrow, right? We can find the resultant vector, that is, we can find the resultant force by using vector addition rule by drawing a vector polygon. Say for example, when there are two forces acting on an object, I can find the resultant force like this. If there's an object and if there are two forces acting on it, this direction F1, and there is a force F2 this direction at an angle theta, I can find the resultant force by using a rule called vector addition rule. I can draw a vector diagram, right? So F1 can be shown by a straight line with an arrow according to a scale F1. I name the line XY. The vector addition rule says the second vector, the second line should be started from the end of the first line. So I should start the second line F2 from the end of the first line. I should draw a line parallel to this one, means I should measure angle theta and draw a straight line according to the same scale and name this Z. This represents F2. Now, vector addition rule says connect the first point of the first line or starting point of the first line and the last point of the second line. If I connect it, that straight line will give the resultant force or resultant vector. So the length of this straight line gives the magnitude of the resultant of these two forces, and this angle gives the direction of the resultant force. So vector addition rule says that when there are more than two forces, there also we can draw a vector polygon. So here there are two forces, so I got a vector triangle. If there are more than two forces, I'll get a vector polygon. There also, the second line should be started from the end of the first line. Third line should be started from the end of the second line, and so on. And connect the starting point of the first line and the final point of the last line from the first point to the last point. That line indicates the magnitude of the resultant vector. But the electric current cannot be shown by this method. Say, for example, consider a circuit, a simple parallel circuit. I'll draw something like this. Okay, consider a simple circuit like this. This resistance R1, this resistance R2, this direction current is I1, this direction current is I2. Say these angles θ1 and θ2, and the current approaching to this junction is I. We know that, say for example, in forces, by keeping the magnitude of F1 and F2 fixed, if I change the angle theta, if I change the angle theta here, this is theta, if I change the angle theta, then the length of line XZ will change. When I keep the F1 and F2 fixed, by keeping those two forces fixed, if I change the angle theta, then the magnitude of the resultant, that is length XZ, will change. Also the angle alpha will change. That means the resultant depends on this angle. But when you think about circuit here, I know I is equal to I1 plus I2 according to Kirchhoff's first law. But even when I change the angles θ1 and θ2, there's no change in I. By keeping I1, I2 fixed, even if I change the angles θ1 and θ2, I will not change. That means current never obeys vector addition rule. Therefore, even current has direction in Fleming's left-hand rule, current is not a vector quantity. Okay, since force is a vector quantity, we are able to draw vector polygons or vector triangle if there are two forces. When there are more than two forces, we are able to draw vector polygon, and we are able to use geometry. We are able to use geometry and trigonometry. You know, all the calculations in forces, whether you are you would have learned that resolving a force into horizontal direction, vertical direction, you use Pythagoras theorem. Horizontal component, you talk about that. Vertical component, you talk about cosine rule, Lami's theorem, all actually based on geometry and trigonometry. So actually, it's actually a gift. Actually, that's one of the nature's property. That means since force is a vector, we are able to show force by a straight line with an arrow, and we are able to draw vector polygon. Since we are able to get a vector polygon, we are able to use geometry and trigonometry. So those things I'll discuss in my next lesson. Okay, now I'll discuss about the experimental evidence that is used to show force is a vector quantity. Okay, so this is the experiment that shows force is a vector quantity. Okay, we can do a setup like this on a vertical plane, something like a whiteboard. We can have a white sheet, and on the white sheet, like a drawing sheet, keep two pulleys as shown in the diagram, right? These are two identical frictionless pulleys, and by using a string, complete the setup as shown in the diagram. So on this free end of the string, attach a weight W2, and on this end, attach a weight W1. So to keep the point P at rest, attach a weight W3 and adjust all these three weights such that the whole system is at rest. So when the whole system is at rest, I know this is a light inextensible string. So the tension of this string, by considering the equilibrium of this weight, the tension should be equal to W2. This tension T1 should be equal to W1. So the same string, so here the tension will be T2, here the tension will be T1. Okay, you are keeping a white sheet behind this system. So you can use a pen or pencil and mark the position of the strings by using some dots on it. You can put few dots here behind it and mark the position of the string. Okay, so now you keep the whole system at rest. So until it becomes rest, you should adjust the weights here, right? So you mark the dots. Now remove the system, pulley and everything. So on the white sheet, you will see some dots like this. Some dots you will see like this. Okay, complete a straight line by you draw a straight line by using these dots and measure the angle by using a protractor, right? And you know the values of W1 and W2. So define a scale. By using a scale, draw a length, a line, straight line along this line. So draw a line from here, a straight line according to the scale, draw a straight line that represents W2. Same way, draw a line, straight line that represents W1. So the angle between those two lines will be theta, and this length indicates W2. This length indicates W1. Okay, now what I'm going to do, you have two lines like this. You can complete it as a parallelogram, or you can draw from the end of this line, draw a line parallel to this line with the same length W1. It will end up at point D. Connect the line B and D. You will get a straight line in vertical direction. Now you know that since P is at rest, the resultant of W1 and W2 must be equal to W3. Is it? The resultant of W1 and W2 must be equal to W3 and it should act vertically upwards. So here you drew this line that represents or indicates W2, and this line you drew that indicates W1 means if you complete a vector triangle BCD, this line indicates the resultant of W2 and W1 according to the vector addition rule. So measure this length, you will see the length BD will be equal to W3. Also, you will see this line is exactly vertical. Okay, so this experiment clearly shows that force obeys vector addition rule, and therefore force is a vector quantity. Therefore, force could be shown by a triangle or polygon, and we are able to use geometry and trigonometry. So by using geometry and trigonometry only, we are able to solve all the questions, all the problems related to force. Okay, so the application of geometry and trigonometry I will discuss in my next lesson. Bye.